Have Edward Kabasa on standby. He's going to be having a sit down with the majority leader of the National Assembly, Amos Kimunya, as Parliament resumes. A very good morning, Kabasa. Kindly just take it away. Tell us what are some of the expectations, what is the order of business as Parliament resumes after the long Christmas break.
Good morning to you, Safina Chieng. The National Assembly and the Senate are expected to resume their sittings this afternoon after a long recess. The members of Parliament have been away for 2 months. A lot to talk about in both chambers. But to help us understand what to expect when business finally resumes this afternoon in the National Assembly, I am going to be speaking to the majority leader in the National Assembly. He is also the Member of Parliament for Kipipiri constituency. He took this role in June of 2020 after some unprecedented processes within the ruling Jubilee Party disciplinary process. Honorable Amos Kimunya, thank you very much for your time this morning. How has it been? 8 months, right?
It's been 8 months, and I'm very happy that I've had very good cooperation from the members, both in terms of the technical staff and also the members of the National Assembly, and we've managed to do a lot of work without anyone feeling that perhaps you took over from Aden Duale, who was my friend. We didn't have a competition. So again, because of that, yes, he left and I was appointed, so our friendship continued. So I still derive a lot of support from him and his friends, and hence it's been a very seamless service to the people.
Having served in cabinet, one would assume that perhaps your new role came with added responsibilities. Now you not only look at one department of government, but you oversee a whole lot of government business in the National Assembly. Yeah. How do you derive the experience, your experience in cabinet right now? Like, how is it different? Is it more challenging, or you're just made for this?
It's actually easier, to the extent that in the last 3 years of my 10 years of cabinet, I also served as the deputy leader of government business. If you recall, under the old constitution, the vice president used to be the leader of government business. But that's more by title than physical, because he was also so busy on other things. So the deputy would end up doing all the work. So I did all the work here, in addition to doing my work in cabinet. And also the work for Kipipiri. Hence, right now, all I'm doing is the work for Kipipiri and work in Parliament. There's no cabinet responsibility. So it's slightly easier, of course. Times have changed. It's much more challenging in terms of the political setting. But by and large, I believe most of my work now rotates around coordinating the issues in the committees, coordinating what's happening with the members. Members keep, we have so many members with their own pending bills, and each of them wants it to be prioritized. I also have the committee bills, I have government bills, and we have to juggle with all those things. There's lots of petitions that keep coming to Parliament, lots of questions, and I have to figure out how we satisfy the needs of each of these members. So it's and there's lots of things that I just find myself doing. I'm not sure whether they're in my job description. I remember just walk in and say, of this issue, how can you help? Members who get stuck on their CDF, they come to me, they say, can you talk to the CS Treasury to disentangle the whatever issues there is. If money for constituency offices has not been released, exchequer releases, they'll be coming to me instead of going to the Speaker, who is the chair of the Parliamentary Service Commission. So we end up with, again, it's lots of things that because people think you are their leader. So they bring all the issues to you, and up to you to do what you have to do. So but I enjoy it.
The fifth session of the 12th Parliament begins today.
Yeah.
a lot to discuss. The budget policy statement will be tabled in the National Assembly, and Kenyans are really optimistic that perhaps this is going to be a very good year, considering that 2020 was very difficult, and the effects of 2020 continues to be felt today. In terms of leadership, what should Kenyans expect, not just from the Jubilee side of the National Assembly, but the entire House?
Yeah, indeed, 2021, we expect it to be a better year than 2020. 2020 came with its own challenges in terms of economic performance, which now puts pressure on the money available for carrying out the normal government programs. In addition, there's added pressure because of COVID, so more money has to be diverted towards health services, and also towards the post-COVID economic recovery. And also in terms of sorting out, social interventions, because so many people have been laid off; they cannot afford. But now 2021, we expect, we've seen the outturn in terms of revenue in the month of December. KRA has collected much more than and January, they've collected much more than the target, which means things are on the up. And that's optimistic. So the other thing that we need to obviously recognize is this budget is the last one that President Uhuru would actually be tabling before he gets into election. And hence, it will have to capture all his aspirations in terms of his Big Four agenda, in terms of the priority thing that he needs to have done, in terms of the social interventions he needs to have done in this last year. So this is going to be a challenging time. Limited resources, lots of expectations in terms of expenditure commitments. But we've seen the drafts, and we believe we can do it. It will be tabled by 15th of this month. I'm just been working on the reconstitution on the budget committee, which we will be tabling this afternoon before the House Business Committee. Then it will come to my selection committee. Once it's approved, then hopefully Thursday morning we can have the new budget committee constituted, and they will start looking at the budget process. There might be a supplementary budget, that we might be looking at towards the end of this week, because so many things have happened. So it's a very packed session. We have all the bills that we saved, because we said we don't want any of the bills getting lost. And there's like 74 bills that are awaiting second reading. Now, typically, every of those bills will need about 3 hours. That's 210 hours. If you look at, by the time you apportion all the time that's available, then they have to go through that reading, then they have to go through the Senate. Some of them, we have like 13 bills that are waiting committee of the whole. That's a simple 2 hours each. Then some, a whole 4 plus probably another 5 that I've signed. We have close to 10 bills that are to be introduced in the House. So it's about 100 pieces of legislation to be processed. We also have motions. We also have committee reports. We also have petitions. We have questions. And we also have COVID restrictions. Okay? So it's something we have to do to figure out what do we do with the workload, which is the most priority, right? And obviously we have things like the business laws, we have some health-based laws to actualize the universal health care. We have some agricultural sector bills, the coffee, the big size, and all those that we need to unlock the agricultural sector, which is key for one of the big 4 components, which is the food sustainability. And manufacturing, again, through some things coming through the Kenya Institute of Research and Development to unlock some things within the manufacturing sector. So we need to now start thinking of what bill supports what sector. At times I hear people saying we have forgotten BBI. We've forgotten the big 4 because of BBI. Yeah. And I know the whole budget for 2020-21, 2021-22 is all about the big four.
Because a lot of that talk is coming from members of your own party.
Yes, perhaps out of ignorance more than anything else. People seem to forget what they've done in the House, or that we've actually put, or what has been done in Cabinet. Because the budget for 2019-2020, 2020-21, 2021-22 is all about mainstreaming the big four. Right? And hence, the big four is still the center of focus. BBI is only one of the items. Okay? And of course, BBI will also be taking center stage in the House. We are very optimistic that the county assemblies will do their bit between now and end of the month, and based on our own evaluation of where they are, we believe by next week most of them will have passed. And once you have the critical 24 county assemblies, we can start the debate in the House. And hence, then move away from that and take it to the people. That will also mean taking members of parliament away from the House to go and campaign for BBI.
What sort of engagement are we looking at when that bill finally comes to the National Assembly? Already, someone might argue that battle lines are already being drawn.
No.
There are members of your own party who are threatening to, renege against the president and form their own alliance. We did see yesterday the deputy president did meet a number of them.
Yes. He met them as his friends. You see, as far as I'm concerned, I'm in charge of the Jubilee Coalition with 207 members. And I have not seen any indication yesterday that they met as members of Jubilee. They met as friends of the deputy president, not as a party, but as individuals who support the deputy president, who are sympathetic to his cause, right? But not as members of Jubilee. So, and I'm sure there are members from even other parties. Hence, and people are at liberty to meet who they want. Today, people will be going for lunch with a person of their choice. So, I don't see that as affecting the work of Parliament, because each of the members in Parliament comes to represent a specific constituency. Okay? And the interests of that constituency is paramount. So if there's a T-bill on the floor of the House, you will not hear Tanga Tanga Kieleweke or NASA Jubilee issues on it. People will be looking at what is the best for the tea farmer, what's best for the coffee farmer, what is best for the sugar farmer. Similarly, when we look at health, that will be the discussion. And we usually have very bipartisan discussions on this. So similarly, when we introduce BBI into the House, there are several people who are looking at BBI in terms of what's in it for their constituencies. There are areas that are receiving an extra constituency. It will be unwise for any member of parliament to oppose BBI when it's resulting in an extra constituency in this area, because how does he then go and convince the electorate that he came to represent them for their interest? Similarly, there is lots of money going to the counties, and if you're going to oppose BBI, which will move more money to the counties, how do you go back to your constituency, which is within a county, and justify having denied them extra resources? So much as there's lots of political posturing out there, when you now talk to members of parliament individually, they say, when it comes to the House, we will pass, right? But when we now go to the referendum, we will gauge the mood of the people, right? But no member of parliament wants to risk, and in fact that's the same situation in the county assembly. Nobody wants to risk putting on the Hansard that they actually opposed a good thing, right? Because when it passes, records will never be erased, and Hansard will never forget, and people will be told there's an election coming next year. And the people who are opposing them will be first to mention, look at so-and-so, he opposed more money coming to you. And
are you confident that perhaps when the document goes out there, when Parliament is done debating, Kenyans will see the need to have this piece of legislation in place?
Oh yes, because let's first of all look at the threshold for the passage of a referendum is quite low. In both houses, we only need 50% of the members, a simple majority. And whether we pass it or not, because it contains some articles that make it mandatory to have a referendum, it will still go for a referendum. So our consideration of the bill in Parliament is more procedural than mandatory. Then in terms of going to the public, you only need 20% in a majority of the counties, plus a simple majority in terms of overall. Now, 20% of the votes is a very small threshold to meet. And you also know that in the absence of a strong no campaign, which we haven't seen yet, who will be there lobbying for the people to go and say no? Very few people, much as they are talking, they don't want it. Very few of them will wake up deliberately to go and vote no. So you end up with a simple majority. It's more like the repeat elections, where we had only President Uhuru Kenyatta as a candidate. People could have gone to oppose, but they didn't, because people need to be motivated by something positive rather than negative.
So why do we have a group of leaders challenging this process, saying that it is not what the country needs right now? Because from the way you speak, it is a good process.
It's a very good thing. In fact, what is happening is a number of members of parliament, a number of Kenyans have actually not sat down to look at what is contained within the BBI. Let's start from top page. What does it say? You know, from a nation united by blood ties, which is the ethnic bounds, to a nation united by ideals, which is ideology-based politicking. Now, when I hear people in the political rally saying we need to move from ethnicity to ideology, that's exactly what BBI is doing, right?